think Ange and I have made the decision to start working on the camper side of the conversion rather than me doing the engine swap anytime soon. So if I have time, and the plan is that I'll rebuild the engine and the transmission as we go, but we'll focus on making this livable so that potentially we can do a little camping trip sometime in the near future. Because when our rooftop conversion sort of thing starts to go ahead, it'll be really nice to have figured out some of this camper stuff. So at the moment it's just a bare shell. I think we'll base a lot of the build around the size of a fridge, which we don't know which fridge to get yet, but the fridge is probably the largest single unit. Then we've also got the hot water cylinder, we've got a composting toilet, and then we've got our inner drive, batteries, and power system as well. So there's quite a few things that we'll need to juggle, plus obviously a kitchen bench and a kitchen sink and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of research needs to go into this because Ange and I still are not quite sure how we're going to plan this out. More like a troopy roof conversion style build in the back where you can, you know, full head height, you sleep upstairs, downstairs you've got cooking and things like that. We reckon that'll make this vehicle an absolute perfect scenario for us in countries like Europe and America. So yeah, very cool. Countries like Europe, you know what I mean. Few things have happened in here since we last spoke. So I've painted up the engine covers and they look beautiful now, especially with those little like brass accents. Yeah, super nice. Just covering this. We're thinking about putting this down here, right through here and in the back. We'll talk about that further later. But yeah, one of the things that was on the list was securing the two batteries. So got some just kind of universal battery trays from Amazon. We've got these in Bowser, our Unimog as well. And I've got like a good position to be able to tie them down properly. And then I've replaced the cabling as well. These came from Biltema. Price wasn't too bad. I don't have any big crimping kits or anything here with me, so it was good to be able to buy them already made. They're a little bit longer than is needed, as you can tell, which isn't ideal, but they are a much thicker gauge than the original ones that came out. So you just had a ground cable, and then like that's the original. So yeah, so much thicker, better density gauge for that. And yeah, I was going to change to 12 volt, but the more I researched, it looks like it's going to be very hard to get the windscreen wiper motors to work, the front blower heater motor to work, and a few other bits and bobs. I would have to change all the relays, all of the light bulbs, etc, etc. So I am going to keep it 24 volt, and I've found another solution to enable me to run 12 volt off these batteries without in any way damaging the batteries. And it takes an equal amount from each battery and then tops one up when necessary. It's an expensive little piece of kit, but I'll show you when that arrives. We've got that coming over from the States. So that will be installed somewhere near here, and then I can run anything I want 12 volt up to 100 amps. So yeah, that's a pretty cool little unit. So we're keeping the truck 24 volt, which is nice, so same as Bowser. And so that's why we needed a position for both batteries. So that's the Dalcore battery that was new. And this is a Vata battery, but it seems to always have a green light here. So I think the actual battery itself is good, and it's got a good amount of cranking amps. So for now we'll keep that and just expect that that will die sometime soonish. We don't know how old it is, and then we'll replace it with the identical Dalcore. Actually as well, we've laid the Dynamat through here. So that's nice all the way through, so everything is nicely insulated. I just need to bolt this down, and then the seal on this is fantastic when you actually lock it all in. Those are those new seat belts. I will be pulling these seats off very soon, and I will be replacing the wood because the wood is semi-rotted. And I'll also will buy something, maybe some sort of vinyl, and I will cover the seat and staple from underneath. Won't be a perfect job, but it will look better than this, right? And I have to do the same thing for these weird little headrests up here. Okay, so now in its permanent spot is our Max Speeding Rod's diesel heater. So you've got the little diesel tank here, which will be easy for me to fill up. From here, I will run a funnel system just out the side of the car, which we'll store. That'll be the easiest way for me to fill this up with a jerry can or when we go to the gas station. And then I will be building something around the batteries and around this, some sort of little, probably 3-sided wooden box at pretty much the perfect height for this. And basically the way I did it was I ran, so before we had the 2 coolant lines coming in for that old rear heater that was back here that I showed you a few episodes ago. So I ended up pushing those back through into the engine bay and cinching those up so that they're still one loop. And they're out of the way. And then that gave me a hole here already cut into the side going into the engine bay. I'm not sure if you can see down there, where I could run my exhaust pipe from this. So that now pumps the exhaust into a little muffler straight out near where the exhaust manifold sort of is. So where it's already getting hot basically, and it's running this way, pointing away from the driving. So if, for instance, we're driving and we want the diesel heater on, those exhaust gases will push that way. We'll get a carbon monoxide alarm as well and make sure everything's nicely sealed up. But from our other Max Speeding Rod's diesel heater in Australia, we had a carbon monoxide alarm right next to it. Never went off. Like, yeah, really good unit. We didn't use it much, but really good unit. So yeah, very happy with this. And that screen is detachable, so I'll be able to put that on the outside of whatever the boxes I make, plus a little ventilation thing with hose. So I thought I'd show you, actually, that's the ducting unit that'll be here, and that's the hose that came with it. So I'll trim that down to whatever I need. And funnily enough, that hose really came in handy because I'll lift up the engine hatch, or one of the hatches. See that down in there? That was all completely destroyed. So basically there was no closed system for the airbox for the Volvo B30. It was basically just had disintegrated and it was open right there. So any dust coming in from under the truck would have been going straight into the engine. So it was real dodgy. So I used some of the Max Speeding Rod's ducting and fixed it all up. It was pretty much the exact same spec, which was handy. The ducting comes in towards near the front of the vehicle there, up by the radiator. So now the B30 is getting nice, cool, clean air for now at least. Anyway, so, and then that comes with a little remote, the diesel heater, as well as an app which is Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So I'll show you at some point that running when we're a bit further along on the build. But yeah, really happy with the spot there. And then the only thing behind it is this little vacuum solenoid here, which engages 4x4 on either braking, low range, or when engaged at the front. And that is not wired correctly at the moment. I must have a ground short somewhere. So I've basically got it so as soon as the engine turns off, there's no 4x4, but it's not selectable at the moment, unfortunately. So I'll have to kind of work out what's happened there. That's apparently a common fault with these old Volvos, so that should be quite fixable.
Ooh, looking flush.
Oak floor.
Really nice. All right, let me jump in.
Hello, hello.
All right, let's take a seat. Ooh.
Yeah, because we are keeping these seats. Hopefully
Oh.
you can't see up my shorts.
Finally, a proper start on the inside. Chris did such a good job on the flooring. So it's just offcuts you used.
So this is offcut. So Bjorn, with his construction workers, have been using some really nice, called parquet here, but it's like flooring boards that connect together. It's a nice high quality one. Lots of offcuts left over, so I used that for in here, and he has generously donated me some leftovers as well that won't be needed, which I can run all through the back here. It's very light. I think it's presumably a pine backing with a very thin layer of oak on top, but it's really, really, really nice. Much nicer than the flooring we worked with Bowser. As you can see here, the engine covers are painted, and then with this oak flooring I was able to cover a large part of the engine cover. But it still enables me to pull it off to access, because I'll definitely need to be doing that very soon, unfortunately. I can talk to you more about that soon. This is the bench seat, and there's another bunch of oak that I've put through here, which is much lighter than the thick. Yeah, I think it's 15mm ply that was here as a backing. I can throw that out and put the much nicer flooring in, which I've already done.
So basically we decided to keep this area. We're not too sure keeping this bench seat, but it's such a cool construction and design. Like Chris will show you, folded and open. It's a bit heavy, but I think it still fits well. So this is where we will sit with Chris when we eat, when we chill or anything. This is Oakley's seat where we'll have his baby seat. And this is Oakley's seat where we assume he will
like
be eating and playing, like whatever.
And there'll be a table here, which will fold up. And that'll be what, you know, he can play with, we can use that for work, things like that. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah, it's nice to have like a little start of the inside, like coming up to...
And this bench seat, so I'm painting it at the moment, and then I'll be able to cover some parts in the flooring to make it look nicer. And then we need to get some cushions made for it, and I need to create another platform that folds down and makes a proper folding bed, which I'll show you as I build it. So I'll probably work a bit on that while Ange and Oaks are in France. Yeah,
so I'm going to France today with Oakley for 5-6 days, just to see my parents and get a few admin things sorted as well. So you will miss you again, but I guess you'll get some sleep.
I was kind of excited last time because it had been so long. I was like, oh, I just get to sleep, and now I'm a bit like, no, so it'll be a bit sad, but that's okay.
We'll be reunited soon.
I'll be working.
So, before we go, I thought we'll do a little quiz, because last time there were some random facts about us that you quite like. So I've got 3 questions. Chris doesn't know, and we'll see what he says. So first one, first country you are the most looking forward to exploring in Europe. One country you have to pick.
Mainland Europe.
I don't
Spain.
actually know.
Spain. I'd love to travel around Spain in this. I think that'd be awesome. I mean, there's so many, but Spain would be really cool.
Spain,
yeah, that would be awesome. Seeing the history and stuff. We had such a great time when we went to Spain.
I look forward to going back there.
Yeah.
Anyone from Spain watching us here? Actually?
Any Spaniards?
For me, it's one that I'm looking forward to going for the first time is Greece.
Oh yeah.
I think the contrast between the coast still, which I absolutely love, and as well the mountains, there's a bit of off-roading. I think it's kind of a good all-round country, so yeah, looking forward to exploring Greece.
That will be awesome.
All right, next question. What is your favorite TV show?
Oh, like current or past? I don't have a current TV show.
You can say past, yeah.
Favorite TV show of all time, hands down, Band of Brothers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mandalorian.
No, Mandalorian's amazing, but no, Band of Brothers is the one I've gone back to maybe 8 times. Band of Brothers, the original Band of Brothers. Pacific, nah, not as good. Masters of the Air, okay, but not anywhere near as good as Band of Brothers. If you haven't seen Band of Brothers with Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, do it.
For me, I think one that really kept me hooked from the first season to the last was Ozark.
Oh yeah.
Really good TV show. I really liked it.
Very good TV show. We just watched The Gentleman separately, but the TV show The Gentleman,
really good.
Wow, really good. If you like crime and yeah, that was awesome.
If you've got any recommendation of TV show, please let us know in the comments, because
we like crime. I love science fiction. I watch that on my own, of course. And yeah, I won't go into too much detail, I guess.
Last question. if money wasn't an issue and space and whatever, what would be your dream vehicle?
My dream vehicle for overlanding around the world and stuff?
You can have...
It'll be this.
Oh.
Be this with a diesel in it. Yeah. And then when I live out of it, you'll have to ask me again. But in my head, I'm thinking this is ultimate. At some stage, the inner child, well, basically just me in general, man-child, a Hummer. I would love to build out a Hummer, a Humvee.
That's something built for the US, basically.
I think that would be really cool. Yeah, building out a Humvee. I'm sure a lot of you Americans will say, don't do that, that's a terrible idea. But I reckon I can make a pretty wicked build out of a Humvee. But I think this, in terms of reliability...
For small family.
Actually, I can't talk about
reliability. Let's not go down that road yet.
Yeah, I can't talk about... I'm sure it will be reliable, but right now it's proving a headache. Yeah, I reckon this fully kitted out. If you see what we're going to do with this thing, it's going to be wild. This thing will be absolutely unreal.
And I feel bad to actually give like another option, but a few days ago actually I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw this old G-Wagon restored, a 2-door. It just looked amazing. I actually haven't seen such a nice looking.
2-door, we can't live out of a 2-door G-Wagon, it's tiny.
It was like...
It's like the size of the Jeep.
I just said, if money wasn't an issue and anything else, just which vehicle would be your dream vehicle?
Oh, a dream vehicle just to drive?
Well,
yeah,
like,
I could put a wicked diesel in the G-Wagon too.
Hopefully could fit in the back. We could not live out of it, but no. I'll show you on the screen.
We could tow it with this, that would be pretty wild.
What about you? What is your dream vehicle? Let us know. Maybe we'll get some inspo for our next build.
By the way, I found a little military insignia in the seat. If any of you Swedes could tell me, please, what is that? Is that worth keeping? A little memento. Oh. No, I don't. I'm not a soldier. I don't deserve to win that. But I'll keep it.
Oh wow! What's the plan now?
Oh my gosh! I had so many plans, and something is up with the transfer case output shaft. I think so. Which happened literally as we were driving in here yesterday. Yeah. So that's kind of in the back of my mind. I kind of need to work out what it is. I don't think it's major, but it could be a bearing. So it would mean I'd have to drop the transfer case and pull it apart, which, yeah, it was on the cards anyway. We're keeping the transfer case. And
I'll leave you with Chris.
And yeah.
And I'll be back next week. All right?
Okay, let's do it. Just wanted to show the result of the glass that we put in. So it's that 6mm glass that's been tempered. And then I put a tint on. We bought a 15% tint, but from what I can tell, that kind of just changes depending on the brand and stuff. So yeah, so you can't really go off the percentage, but yeah, we're really happy with it. It's not too dark. In some angles, it's very dark, and when the sun's right on it, you can see right through. So yeah, we don't mind it at all. We're actually quite happy with the tint choice. But in terms of looks with the glass as well, like this is what we replaced. That it's like an acrylic, I guess. And then these are the side windows. So at this stage I'm just sealing around because using the original seals was proving so difficult. So we decided to glue them in more like a modern window. I will fix this sealant up a little bit more to make it even better. And then on the inside we've done a seal around. It's not perfect, but it's just so much better. Where is the, yeah, like look at that. You just can't even really see out of it. It's gone like milky and opaque and scratched. So the benefit of the acrylic is it's light and doesn't shatter. But I don't see our side windows or the rear shattering anyway from anything. So yeah, very happy with the glass. How much did that cost, Ange, the glass, please?
2,000 SEK.
2,000 SEK, which is
170 euros.
170, 180 euros for the 3 of them tempered. And then we bought the tint from Euler. If you're a TGB owner, highly recommend it. It wasn't a difficult thing to do. The rear window is just glued in as well. And the sealant we used is Sika 591. I've used that before in Australia. Much more expensive in Australia, and it was always more expensive than the triple one, the Sika triple one, the stick and seal, that we used for the entire build of Bowser basically. This was like the higher quality one, but it dries a bit slower, just to bear in mind. So you kind of want to leave it overnight before you paint over it or anything. But this is a very good sealant from the tests that I've done on, and this is what I used to seal the seams of the truck as well. So this board here, yeah, I think it's 15 mil thick. That went along there, so it's quite heavy, and I'm replacing it with the flooring board, which looks much nicer and is much lighter, so that's a bonus there, and it does suit really well, so I'm happy with that. Wanted to talk briefly about our new headlight choice. So a company called Oxbeam sent us these. They're called the Starlight Flow, and they are a 7-inch LED. And they are direct bolt-in replacement, so they're very similar to like your Jeep style. They're 7 inches as well, and I think like your Harley Davidson's has those too. So there's a ton of 7-inch lights on the market, but Oxbeam have very good reviews, and they've been around for a while. They make good stuff, so we're really happy to go with them. Now, just something to bear in mind is these are a 12-volt headlight, and after a lot of umming and ahhing and research, I am deciding to keep the truck 24-volt. So what that means is I had to buy 2 of these. So this is from a company called Bauer Electronics, and I got these on Amazon, and they are a 10 amp 24 to 12 volt step down converter. They weren't very expensive. I think roughly they were like €20 each. I needed 2 of those, and I made sure that the amperage would be in spec. So these were 10 amp units each. They get more expensive as you go up in amperage, so all I need to do was just have a look basically at the packaging on the Oxbeam and work out that at full power, the both of them only can use like 13 amp or something like that. So I knew this would be within spec. You wouldn't want it to go too close to spec in case these heated up and eventually burned out. So they've got their own like little heat sink, and they seem fine. They're basically waterproof. Yeah, they will do the job. So the other thing I bought to help with the install, now Oxbeam politely includes some cable splitters, but I really like this style here. So that's where the cable goes in. You've just got like a little clip, and those I've used in the past, and they're great. So I got a couple of boxes of those from a store nearby called Eula, and I also bought some more connectors as well, which is really handy to have. And then all you need is your standard style wire stripper. So what I'm doing is going in here and I'm wiring everything up, first of all to the 12 volt converter to 24. So of course, if I plugged the 24 volt power of the truck system straight into that light, it might blow the light. So that's something to really bear in mind. So I'm making sure that I got all my wiring sorted, and then I stick that up in here somewhere, just double-sided tape. This is where the windscreen washer bottle normally goes, and that sort of covers up all that wiring. And then they've also included these connectors here, which is good, which means I can actually attach those to the indicator. They've given you enough length, and a direct running light mode. So that's why these are really cool. They've got a bunch of functions on them. The only thing I'm struggling with is it wasn't a direct plug and play in terms of the electrics. I'll show you soon, but so far all I can do is I can only choose between high beam or low beam. I can't seem to have both, and now that's definitely something peculiar to the truck system. That's not the lights. So I need to work out, there's something going on with a relay which is turning one off, or it's like a ground, or yeah, something like that. So I need to potentially even do some more wiring at some stage. If you've installed LED lights on an old vehicle like this, or an old Volvo in particular, please let me know if you needed to do anything special, because yeah, at the moment I'm basically going to choose to have low beam. I can't really have high beam, which at the moment is not the end of the world at all, because we will be running some lights up here, or a light bar, and I'll have that on a separate switch, and that'll be my high beam. So I'm not too fussed, because these lights are very bright. But yeah, if you've encountered that, please let me know. I'm by no means a wiring genius, and I don't want to spend too long trying to figure out the original system. So if you've done it yourself, that would be really good if you could let me know, please. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to carry off the install, and I'll show you them both working. Okay, so lights are all wired up, so I will go through the different modes that I've got. So we've just got ignition. So the aux beam, so that is your daytime running light mode. So it does like a startup sequence, and then you've got almost like a halo. Now, we could also change that to orange, which I would really like, but I'm not sure if that's legal here in Europe. If any of you know the regulations, please let me know, because I wouldn't mind changing this to yellow. Then we have headlights. So they're probably a bit blinding now. So that is your normal running light mode, and these lights are adjustable already, so I can bring those down. But when we got the truck inspected, the guy said that the level was perfect. So there's your main mode there, and then I'll turn those back to your daytime running mode. Then we've got indicators. So they look pretty cool. And of course hazards. Modernized the truck. And on another note, I've put a different type of windscreen seal in, a square one from Tatanka. So that should keep out the noise and the rain and the wind much better than the old one, and I've painted the frame last night. And another news, which is upsetting, it upsets me a lot. When I was gluing these in, I've accidentally dropped some super glue and hadn't realized, and it's left a mark here. Right on the front of the truck, so I'm super upset about that. I've tried getting it off with some alcohol, but that's proper set now. Hello, darkness, my old friend. So I'm not too sure what I can do about that. I can't really cover it with anything which wouldn't make it look a bit silly. After all of this hard work, I go and ruin it. Oh, I hate stuff like that. But I guess at some stage something would have happened to the paintwork, so maybe we get it over and done with now, and then I won't be so attached to it like I am right now. Good morning. Worked in here till about 10:30 last night, working on the floor and all through here, and I'm very happy with how it's looking. So I can describe to you how this works a little bit better now. So there'll be wood backing here and wood here, and there'll be another piece hinged to here about this width, which would normally sit on top. Our cushion will be on top of that. Remove the cushion, flip this down, cushion goes here, and the cushion that would be on this back piece would be here. So it makes a bed from here to roughly here. So not a huge bed, but easily big enough for a little boy. So that'll be good, and then normally it'll just be seating like this. Once these catches are taken off, it can fold down or it can fold back a bit as well. So underneath can be storage. So I've still put a little bit of insulation, but the rest is kind of storage through here. I need to decide how to cover it, because when you're walking in, you can sort of see down in here and stuff would spill out. So I'll maybe use some ply or something like that to stop that from being accessible from this side. And then I think I've said before, this entire seat also hinges up towards us this way, which gives even better access underneath. There is also a possibility that I could run a water tank there. In terms of weight distribution, can't have our water tank being on one side only. Obviously that doesn't work because we'll, too much weight on one side. And running across the middle, when the water tank isn't completely full, as you off-road or you go off-camber, all the water would tip to that side, and it would assist in a rollover or a potential rollover situation. So you don't really want water sloshing back and forth like that. And I know from experience with Bowser, getting water tanks with baffles is not as easy as it sounds. So my thoughts are 2 tanks, if you could imagine these were the water tanks running that way on each side, so that when they're not full, there's not so much side to side slosh, it's more front to back slosh, which I think would be better. Plus it's over the 2 rear axles, which would be the best place possible for our weight distribution. And then I've also got the 2 big EnerDrive lithium batteries to take into consideration as well. Those ones maybe will run that way. Yeah, it's all just thoughts and planning at this stage. Weight distribution is very important. We made sure that it was a huge priority in Bowser, and we're really happy. Bowser is very tall, but has never seemed top heavy ever. There's just not much weight up high. We made sure all the weight was down low. Each axle has almost the exact amount of weight, because Ange helped me calculate it up in a spreadsheet, and we added the weights of each appliance, etc., and made sure each side was pretty much exactly the right weight. And then when we went and weighed it, that kind of made sense as well. So I think that was really important. So off-road Bowser doesn't feel top heavy or weird on one side at all. It seems perfectly distributed. In fact, the weight on Bowser, our Unimog, the weight would be down right sort of through here. That would be where all the weight is. Now I do like that this is on portal axles, because we've got some more weight down low. Obviously unsprung weight, but it's still weight down low. Yeah, I mean, we're sort of bringing weight up a bit higher, and then with our conversion, we're definitely going to have a lot of weight on the roof. So with this vehicle, it's something that I need to take into consideration even more than with Bowser. It's very important, and these do roll, especially the 4x4. I've seen, at least half a dozen vehicles on the forums that have rolled in recent years, so I don't want to go through that. The 6x6 obviously will be more stable, and then little sneak peek into the future as well. We're gonna have the wheels widened, or we're having the wheels widened as we speak. And I'll talk more about that when it comes time, but they're going to stick the tyres and the wheel itself out wider and increase my stance, so it'll make it even more difficult for this thing to roll. That's my thoughts anyway. Okay, I won't ramble too much. Now, what I wanted to do while Ange and Oaks were away was install the seats. I called up my friend Darren in South Australia, the heavy vehicle engineer, and asked him what his advice would be for the seat base to make it really nice and safe. and to make sure that I wasn't barking up the wrong tree. So sort of described to me, I'll just ad-lib this, don't quote him on it at all. These cross-section pieces here that go laterally this way, I don't need those at all. They don't actually really offer me anything. It's really through here that would matter, because these are our new runners, and there are ribs here you can see as well. So what I really need is a thick piece of steel on each side, thick and wide, that I can keep the original 4 mounting holes, but then also mount this to it as well. Unfortunately, I need roughly 50 mil wide by 3 mil thick flat bar, steel iron flat bar. I cannot find anywhere in Malmo, anywhere nearby that has anything that thick. All of the hardware stores, kind of the maximum width is like 30 millimeters. So I'll have to order it online, and that means it won't arrive for, you know, the better part of until the end of sort of next week. So unfortunately I can't do this by the time Ange and Oaks come back, but that's okay, because in a way I wouldn't want to be rushing it anyway, because unfortunately these 2 holes here are captive. You can't actually get into this cross section here from underneath, so they've welded nuts in from the inside. This side seems a little bit easier. So I'm going to be kind of doing a little bit of guesswork, because these have to sit outside by roughly about 3 centimeters. So that's going to be an interesting one. It will take some time. And then I need to also be aware of where, you know, front to back I need to mount this. So there'll be lots of test fits with the seat, and make sure that I don't drill any holes that are unnecessary through the floor. So that's kind of put a spanner in the works there. And then the other thing I have is I need to inspect what's going on with the transfer case. I can't really be bothered right now. I don't know why. I don't really want to be lying down there dealing with the drive shaft again right now. It may be easier to put the truck up on jack stands, turn the engine on when Ange is here, and let her just put a little bit of accelerator on, and just maybe we can see if it's, you know, what's actually going on. So I might actually wait until she comes back. And then the other job I can do, still waffling, is I can cut these. So I can cut these, remove the springs, start to have a play around with the big bad boys there. But then it means the vehicle is very much off the road. So what is the best bet? Good morning. Kind of a cold day today actually. So first up, I've just finished off doing the Dynacore around the transmission tunnel area, and then we're thinking we'll buy stretch carpet to put over the top of that as our finished result. Now I need to decide how much more Dynacore to put into the cab. Still got 2 boxes, so I probably won't put them under the seat bases, but I probably will maybe go into the wheel wells because we've got enough. Now these are these are Oakley's seats. So as you can probably see, they have had it. So this is the backing, and it's completely split, and it's all rotted ply. There was this like plastic vapor barrier over it which I ripped through, and it was actually moist underneath when I ripped it. So yeah, that's been rotting away for many years. So the whole thing needs to be replaced. The upholstery needs to be replaced. The wood needs to be replaced, and potentially even the foam needs to be replaced. That'll leave me with just the frame, which I'll probably paint black, so I can start pulling that apart now. We have some like a leather textured or leather coloured vinyl on its way, which I'm going to staple over the top of potentially even the original maybe, just so that it keeps its form. I'll kind of decide once I get in there. first rust I've seen on the truck so far. Now I'm on an exciting project. Check this out. Here's the finished result of one of them. That is the rear reverse facing seat. So that's Oakley's seat that I've just done. So we bought this vinyl here. It's like a leatherette. It's obviously not real leather. We bought that off Amazon for very cheap. I'll get Ange to put up on the screen how much that cost. And the foam, so this is the original seat foam here. It's not perfect condition, but it's not too bad as well. It's not real moldy. This is the original base here. So these are very flimsy and they're kind of rotting away and breaking. So today we picked up some 12mm pine plywood, like a higher quality one, this one here behind me. And I just this afternoon cut the same shape out, which looks much nicer. So that's that one there already done. And I've reused the foam for those seats because they are in good condition, they've already been cut. However, the foam for the back is this here, which is a bit thicker, nice quality foam. That came out of the backing of the bench seat, so it was quite long. So I had enough for 2 of those, and I've got a little bit of leftover, as you can see here. And one of the reasons I wanted to replace that was these were the backings. Like, seriously, disgusting. And there were some more cushions on the bench seat, and that's these ones here. This I will use for the headrest. And I'm going to do a different design because this is absolutely terrible. I'm going to throw that straight in the trash. That was the better of the two. But I'm very happy with the job it's done. So the upholstery that I took off the green stuff, a lot of it was ripped and a bit moldy and gross as well, but that had been sewn, so there was like a seam sewn around it. I don't have any sewing skills and I don't want to buy a sewing machine and learn, not at this stage. So instead, I've just gone with the old staple situation, fired a billion staples into the back of this and just folded things over. I've got some creases here, but they don't bother me at all. So I'm really happy with that. And I like the color, so we're going to buy some more of this, and that'll be for the bench seat, which will turn into a bed. It'll be that color. A little bit dark, but I think it's really good. And then as you can see, I painted up the seat frame as well. Need to get a little bit of hardware from Bauhaus because the hardware I'm using, I've had to space it with 3 washers, which isn't ideal. So I need to get some smaller screws. They had originally used these like butterfly things that go in and then the bolt can screw into those. But I don't like that. So instead I'm kind of using a wooden tack screw, one that just self-fastens and holds, and I think that'll work just fine. So that's tonight. I'm going to upholster this seat now. I might film a little bit of that. I'll put the vinyl over that. All of it was just a guess, but it seems to have worked out really well. I'm not even using glue, so very happy with that. And then I've got one more piece of wood to cut from the big sheet here. That was like, do you know, to be like €100. So I'm shocked how expensive plywood is, and that's just pine, so it's not a really high quality. It's not like birch or poplar or anything like that. Yeah, it's going to be expensive fitting out the back with a lot of nice plywood. Expect present wrapper. All right. Now just the creases from where the vinyl was transported. That looks good. Very nice. Easy peasy. If you own a Volvo, reupholster this stuff yourself. new headrests. So those look pretty cool. Happy with those. I think they are much better than reviving these horrible things. Hey. Very happy with that result. That came out a lot better than I thought it would. Yeah, I'm stoked with that. All back together. Those are nice and steady. Yeah, very good. Very, very, very good. Well, that about wraps up this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Next week's video will be mostly all about the transfer case, which I had to pull out thanks to an unfortunate little circumstance. So I've kind of been working on that while doing all the other stuff you've been seeing in this video. So you might see a little bit of continuity errors, or you might see some stuff that then I don't talk about in the video, but that's why. It's because it was basically too much content for this 1 week. So that'll be on the next one. Cheers, guys. See you then. Bye.